Peteris Skudra, новое имя в тренерском корпусе континентальной.
Peteris Skudra is the new face among KHL head coaches this season, although you must have heard his name back when he was still a player. He played in both Europe and North America. This season Skudra signed as Torpedo's head coach. Within a season he was able to get a new public image of himself, the one of a very emotional coach. His emotions are flying high during every game. Many fans remember him as a player, but once he retired he went almost completely invisible for a public eye. For an entire year he was taking care of his health, he was treating his old injuries, and little by little he made his way back into hockey. I spent a season on Viasat TV network. I was a hockey analyst there, says Skudra. And then I spent another season as a member of a board on Dynamo Riga. Those were my first 2 years after I retired. 1 year I helped the fans to understand the game better, and the other I worked for a club. After that, Skudra worked as a goalie coach in Severstal, and finally last season he was an assistant coach in Sibir. In the summer of 2013 he made one of the biggest decisions in his life. He moved to Nizhny Novgorod and signed as Torpedo's head coach. Now it was his job to get the staff and get the team ready for the playoffs. Going back to my last year with Sibir, all I can say, it was a very interesting experience for me. The season was really interesting and exciting. That season had a great ending to it too. Even though we lost to Avangard in the first round of playoffs, it was great that we could take a team like that to Game 7. It was a great experience for me and the team as well. As for the offer to become a head coach of a KHL team, it came to me pretty unexpectedly. Unfortunately, last season ended for us really early, says Torpedo's general manager Andrei Osipenko. But that gave us a lot of time to pick a new coach for the team. I guess it's not a big secret now that we wanted to get both Dmitry Kvartanov and Skudra. However, we couldn't get Kvartanov to sign for several reasons. It was a big decision for me. I had to think it over. I went to Sibir's general manager Kirill Fastovsky and Dmitry Kvartanov as well. And they both told me they were okay with me taking the job and wished me good luck. I still had an ongoing contract with Sibir, but they let me go, and I'm thankful to them for that. And that's how I got here. Torpedo knew about Skudra's explosive temper. Last time when he was here as Sibir's assistant coach, he got a game misconduct, believe it or not. Things got really hot in that game. Nevertheless, Torpedo didn't mind the episode when they offered him a contract. We weren't looking for a drama queen, we were looking for a coach with a good plan. The game model he presented us with was very clear and pleasing to us. We knew he wasn't going to build a team based on star players, and we were fine with that. Perhaps it was the first time in years we as the club management understood exactly why we were signing certain players and what we were to expect out of them. He had us convinced. The fact he's a very emotional guy we consider a great bonus. After signing with Torpedo, Skudra began to build his coaching staff. Let's talk about his conditioning coach, for instance, Eduard Robert. Before signing with Torpedo, he had the same job at a legendary Dutch soccer club, Ajax. Here's another interesting detail. All of his assistants, Andris Kabelka, Andrei Tsarov, and Alexander Zavyalov, back in their playing days used to be on Akbars. It's merely a coincidence. To be honest with you, when I had to build a coaching staff, I was looking for guys who understand the game the way I do. I wanted them to build a hockey team I wanted to build. This past summer, Skudra made several promises. Torpedo wouldn't allow many goals, and Torpedo will have tough defensemen who will score a lot. And those weren't just empty promises. We wanted an aggressive and a fast team. As for defense, we wanted them to follow our game model to the letter. We believe that hockey is getting tougher and faster. If you're able to play this kind of hockey, you're able to get through a long season with better results. This long season started for Torpedo like any other year with a preseason camp. But many players confirmed this was the hardest preseason they ever went through. There were endless bike pedaling, working with weights, cross-country running. All that was needed to bring the conditioning to another level and be at your best when the playoffs come around. Playoff hockey is different from regular season hockey. We put our guys through a lot during the preseason so they'd be ready for it. If you want to play aggressive and fast hockey, you're gonna need a lot of energy. Our job was to get them ready for it. Torpedo's regular season results pleased many fans, but what was more pleasing to Skudra was that his players understood what was asked from them from a tactical point of view. They learned many schemes. Torpedo knows how to vary their tactics. The players will show which of them are more useful than the others. Physical condition of our players is important to us, but on top of that we want them to be smart. We want them to understand where they're going and why. We wanted them to be able to read plays. A good hockey player is a smart hockey player. After Torpedo signed Skudra, they were exposed to big news. They were reassigned from Western Conference to Eastern Conference. How is that going to affect the team? It seemed to be the question on everyone's mind, but as for Skudra, he wasn't too worried about that. The league has certainly gotten more competitive. You can actually beat any team in the league, no kidding. It works the other way too. You can lose to any team if you don't have the right attitude. If you think you can beat somebody effortlessly, think again. Not gonna happen. It was working back in the day, but not anymore. In the past few years, the gap between KHL clubs has been reduced. You listen to this interview and think that Skudra is always calm and thoughtful, but he's a whole different person at the games. It's all about emotions. He truly takes to the heart every moment of the game. I've been like this ever since I went to the NHL. In my rookie season, I didn't speak English very well. I was very humble and minding my own business. I mean, I was never an NHL star, right? And then I met a coach who told me that simply playing hockey isn't gonna cut it. You need to get emotional, he said. You need to be alive out there. It's sports. You need to pass your energy to your teammates. If you take two players with a similar skill, who do you think is gonna play 2 times better than the other? The one with emotions. We had a team meeting on day 2 of the preseason, says Torpedo's forward Daniil Zharkov. I thought he was very polite, yet very emotional person. And I think it's good for our team. He always finds the right words for us on the bench. Words that get us motivated and that help us win hockey games. I think it's a huge leg up to have a coach who can fire up the team, says Torpedo's captain Vadim Hamitsky. We don't have guys on our team who don't care about the outcome of a game. We're all fired up before the games, and that's the way it should be. That's exactly what you need to win games. I believe it's my job to make sure that the guys who step on the ice are as ready for it as possible. They need to be focused and play hard. I tell the same things to every guy on every line before I let them on the ice. I tell them to be aggressive. It's my job. I can't just stand still there when I see that somebody isn't doing something right. And if we're losing a game, I will do everything I can to fire up my team. I will do everything I can even to fire up just one guy. And because of that, Torpedo is a force to be reckoned with on home ice this season. They beat almost every top team in the league in Nizhny Novgorod. SKA St. Petersburg, Akbars, Boris, Dynamo Riga, Red Army. Torpedo was tied in points for 4th in the East but finished 5th. All of that in Skudra's rookie season as a head coach. In my first year as a team's head coach, I needed to show I knew what I was doing. I needed to prove I know the direction I want to be headed. I was never given that opportunity before. Some people were skeptical of me. A few reporters came to me, shook my hand and told me, "Well done, I didn't think you'd last longer than a month." Some of them thought I'd last 2, maybe 3 months. And I mean, they had the right to think so. In the KHL, you can never feel secure about your job. You can never be too sure about how much time you're going to be given with the team. And that's why it's important to show your superiors from day one you know what you're doing, you know where you're going, and you know how to get there. You can never rest. Skudra doesn't rest even after the games. He's always open for the media. You'll never hear cliches from him. He's not going to tell you that the other guys came out hard, you win some, you lose some, it is what it is, and other classics. I'll always try to think about the game in a critical way and tell the truth like it is. I don't like cliches, honestly. Because what's the point? If the guys played well, we should say they did play well. And if they didn't play well, we should be the first to admit it. I'm not worried that some players may get offended by what I said to reporters after the game. If somebody played badly, he should know about it. And not just him, but everybody else too. We're a family. We do everything together. And when somebody slacks on the job, we have to call it out. Nothing personal. I've been through this in the NHL. Over there, they go down on you even harder. North American media won't forget you anything, literally anything. Over here, it's more reserved. Every drill at a practice, Skudra explains in 2 languages, Russian and English. But it doesn't matter what language you speak. He sets the bar equally high for every player. Besides, there is no real segregation between Russian and import players. Torpedo is a team who has only 1 goal and 1 goal only to rock the league this spring. Can Skudra pull off a miracle in his first year as a head coach? This question is going to be answered very soon.